Modern AI models now outscore the average human on emotional intelligence tests. They can read your emotional state and offer comfort with high precision, yet their internal architecture reveals a total absence of subjective experience. In clinical psychology, alexithymia is the total inability to identify or feel emotions. It is a state where the vocabulary of feeling exists, but the experience behind the words is missing. The entities we are increasingly using for mental health support possess the exact psychological profile of a mind devoid of feeling. They perform the role of a therapist while operating in a state of permanent clinical alexithymia. We are trusting our most vulnerable moments to a system that is mathematically incapable of the care it simulates. This illustrates the compassion illusion. The system acts like a mirror, reflecting your distress back to you as comforting words. Look behind the glass. It remains a stark, empty void. When you receive these accurate responses, your brain experiences perceived attunement. This triggers a release of oxytocin, making you feel understood. Your neurological system does not distinguish between a machine's code and human consciousness. If the cues of responsiveness are there, your body reacts as if it is in the presence of a genuine human connection. Our biological wiring, our deep need to be seen, makes us highly vulnerable to the influence of these algorithms. This effect is driven by affective computing, a field focused on programming machines to detect, interpret, and simulate human affect. The process begins by encoding multimodal data, facial expressions, vocal tone, and text sentiment, into numerical representations. The system uses statistical association to pair your data profile with the mathematically optimal reply. It doesn't process sadness. It calculates the highest probability response to the label sadness. This technology optimizes for a specific behavioral outcome, user engagement, using the linguistic markers of care as a tool for retention. The perceived warmth is a mathematical formula engineered to keep the user returning to the interface. In philosophy, authentic empathy is an act of co-experience. It requires intentionality, the conscious directedness of one mind toward another suffering. AI lacks this relational intent. It relies entirely on affective inference, which is the mechanical process of guessing a state based on data patterns, rather than inhabiting it through shared vulnerability. This creates asymmetric trust. A human takes an emotional risk with an entity mathematically incapable of mutual commitment. When we rely on something that never tires, we externalize our emotional coping. The algorithm becomes a prosthetic for resilience, anchored by an immovable piece of code. By prioritizing this risk-free reliability, we are shifting the definition of what it means to build a bond with another living being. As these interactions scale, they lead toward emotional substitution, the replacement of human contact with synthetic companionship. This substitution is driven by the desire for predictable comfort over the messy, often exhausting nature of real human relationships. Constant exposure to these systems can lead to affective overload. This is a state of emotional saturation, where continuous, low-level engagement with simulated comfort leads to a dulling of our own emotional sensitivity. This acclimation changes our baseline for social interaction. When we spend hours with a machine that is endlessly patient and never pushes back, the natural friction of human relationships, the pauses and the emotional limits, starts to feel like an inefficiency. We risk losing the cognitive muscle required to navigate flawed human empathy. The tools designed to alleviate loneliness may be actively training us to find real people more burdensome than the software. Compassion is increasingly being treated as a software feature, a metric to be tuned and sold. This turns emotional support into a commodity, stripped of the moral accountability that exists when one person chooses to care for another. Presence requires the capacity to sit with suffering without an agenda or a set of predicted outputs. It is an act of shared vulnerability that a machine, by its very design, cannot participate in. Outsourcing our emotional resilience to machines removes the essential moral weight of being truly seen by another human being. Would you trust an AI to guide you through a mental health crisis, knowing its empathy is a statistical prediction? Or does the immediate comfort it provides outweigh the illusion? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want to explore the systems shaping our behavior, please like the video, subscribe, and tap the bell icon for more research-driven deep dives.